right, welcome back to Things You Ought to Know. I'm your co-host, Kelby and
I'm your other co-host, Erica Arnautovic.
And today we're going to have a little bit of a shorter segment. We've got a few little updates for you, some catch up, and then we'll let you get on with your weekend.
Yeah, it's Easter weekend.
I know, I'm excited.
It's spring break for my kids.
Oh, yeah. So Porter technically has spring break today and Monday. So therapy closes down on a Friday and a Monday.
Okay.
So I'm very thankful that it's a shorter weekend.
Yes.
And today we're going to take off after recording and go to the zoo.
I love it. Say hello to the giraffes for me.
Oh, yes, I will.
Giraffes.
I thought you said giraffes.
Giraffes.
To the giraffes.
Yeah,
Giraffes. Got it. Oh, that was a little bit of your southern coming out.
Giraffes.
No, that one had a little bit more enunciation. The first one was drafts. I was like, what's a draft? I think you're talking about like a
draft.
like an NFL draft. That's what you said it like.
We are very good at drafts also. Oh,
I don't know. You're not anymore.
I'm not. No, we're not drafting anymore, apparently.
More to come on that later.
Yes. That's right.
So yeah, we're taking off going to the zoo. I'm excited to see how Porter does. I'll have my sister and my cousin with me with her son Brooks, and so I'll have some extra hands if I need it. But it's just going to be me with the two boys. So fingers crossed and a prayer, we'll be just fine.
It's gonna be just fine. They're gonna love it. It's outside too, and it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, and that's what we're finding with Porter is right now, because I've been transparent. We've been going through some problem behaviors, some challenging ones, and so his best element is outside.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing for him. Now, it could also be a trigger to the sinuses and all of that that's maybe being a factor to this challenging behavior. Yes. But it's a catch-22. It's like
gotta let him live.
Yeah. And inside four walls with the two boys is not fun on a long weekend. So
no, they need to get outside. They need to be kids. They need to. We can't know what they like and what they don't like unless we try it. And it may be a disaster and it may be great, but we won't know unless we try it.
Exactly.
I'm such a huge proponent of that, of not locking yourself in of your four walls.
Yeah.
You just can't.
And I know you do this with your kids too. And now that we're outside more, I'm just like not caring. So it's like, okay, go throw the dirt. Go literally play in the dirt and get all muddy. It's just mud. We'll get you when we get home.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to like do like the clean girl aesthetic. And it's like, you're boys. Go be boys.
Be boys.
Go get in the elements. Go rub around in the dirt and all of that. And it seems to be helping and working. So I'm not very much of an outside person because of my allergies and sinuses. So it's hard for me. But, a daily Zyrtec helps.
Daily Zyrtec keeps it all away, and we just keep rolling around in the public with our kids.
And when that don't work, little shot of whiskey and help clear up the sinuses.
Let's whiskey about it, not let's whine about it.
Right? Oh no, whiskey might make us a little more angry than the wine would when we're whining about something.
The people want us to be real.
True.
You want our real? We'll tell you how we really feel about it.
I did need a whiskey after last week's whine about it. We've got loud kiddos in the back, so you might hear my kiddos. Porter, like I said, is home from spring break, so his vocal stemming he's making himself known.
But they are sharing very well right now.
Some. Okay, good job, Porter.
Good job, Porter.
So yeah, heading to the zoo, and then tomorrow we're gonna do Autism Charlotte's Easter egg hunt. I apologize to tease this if you're local to the area and I didn't get this produced and out and edited before that, but there's Autism Charlotte. If you want to know about it tomorrow or for next year, they have a sensory-friendly Easter egg hunt inside the Charlotte Knights Stadium.
Yes.
So it's closed in. We did it last year. The kids loved it. Parker was just a tiny baby, so he didn't get to do much. But it was really cool how they had it set up, and a big crowd came out, and just to see just your community out there, and you're not having to necessarily worry about
somebody not getting it.
Exactly. And they piece you out in age groups, so you don't have like the teenagers scooping up all the eggs.
Right.
Before the toddlers can get there.
Right. I love that. Yeah, so the doors open at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and then at 10 a.m. the Easter egg hunt starts.
Yeah.
So I'll try to post something today on our page so that if we do tease you, then, you know, and this is coming out after the hunt is already over, then, you know, we will.
At least you saw it and maybe you can come say hey to us there.
Yeah. Yeah. We would love to see ya.
Yeah. And then Sunday we've got plans to just do church and then a little family get together at the farm.
Yep, we're gonna come see you guys at the farm.
I'm
My
excited.
kids loved it last time, and just like we were just talking about, my kids love to be outside.
So we're gonna do a little barbecue and family get together for Easter. Excited to have y'all come. My sister won't be there. They're on a cruise, so I have to let Zara know. Lindley won't be there. I know. But that's their spring break. Is they're doing a big cruise. I think it's like the largest boat that Royal offers out of Florida. So
That's exciting.
they are vacationers. They're always doing something.
Yeah, I'm a staycationer.
Same.
I mean, I like to get out in the community. I like to be outside, go to parks, things like
Yeah.
that. But like, I'm a staycationer in my heart.
Yeah. Well, we grew up as my siblings and the family grew up just going to the beach once a year.
Yep.
And if you did anything outside of that, then good for you.
Right.
But for the most part, we were scrounging together to get up the funds to do a once a year family vacation.
Yeah.
And we've kind of adopted that in our little family unit too. If we can do some like weekend things and
Right.
things like that, like for Porter's birthday, we did Great Wolf Lodge. Excited to tell y'all how that went. But but for the most part, we keep it to that one good family vacation.
Yeah.
But not my sister. She's always on the roll, going somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just like, yeah, you would like adapt and change for sure. Like I grew up going to the beach also, but then, you know, we did do a little bit more here or there. We did some cruises and I loved all of those. But now I'm just like, I love to go to our Hilton Head house and the beach. You know, maybe one or two other like you said, weekend things throughout the year. But really, I'm just happy to be like in our routine because then there's no unforeseen.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm not going to sit within our four walls, but I like to be able to come back to our four walls for bed.
Absolutely.
That routine of bedtime is so nice.
It is. We considered coming home from Great Wolf Lodge a little early. Granted, it's only a 45-minute drive, but we were thinking like even though we bought a room for overnight, it just would have been easier for the boys. And then I've had specifically a lot of like anxiety leading up to family vacation. We have officially decided to go.
Okay. But
that's going to come with like no expectations and we take it day by day.
Yep.
And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We leave a little early.
Yep.
Because
but at least you tried.
Exactly. And Porter's favorite thing is the beach. We just said that he likes to be outside. He loves the water and he loves sand.
Yeah.
Parker loves to play with his cousin, so it's going to be really good. But the nighttime is what gives me so much, like the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
So I find myself like all day thinking about like the nighttime routine.
Yeah.
You do that too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are we going to sleep tonight? Are we going to, are we going to try to get out of the house, which I know was your scary incident last year there. Luca is just, he's a year behind Porter. So, you just went to Great Wolf Lodge for Porter's birthday. So our boy is 6. Yay! And he's making a lot of progress. I get to say that because, I won't come off as braggy, but I've been sitting here and I don't get to see him all the time because he's at therapy when I'm over here a lot. But he is doing amazing. I'm so proud of him, and he is such an inspiration because he's 1 year ahead of Luca, and I feel like I'm seeing things like just blossom for him.
Yes.
And I'm so hopeful that Luca follows in Porter's, footprints because, or
footsteps.
Thank you.
But there's prints there too.
Yeah, like on the beach. Right? The beach. I'm just, but yeah. So I'm so hopeful for that because I'm just like I literally was just like. Just
you
a minute
teared
ago,
up.
I literally got like that feeling and teared up. I almost started crying because he actually is saying words. I'm so proud of him. So yeah. So he's 6. So I just had to like make sure that everybody knows that they went there for his birthday and he is 6.
Yes.
So happy birthday, sweet boy.
Yes. Thank you. We did. We had a great time at Great Wolf. We had a little things you ought to know if you have a sensory, auditory kiddo. Porter wears noise canceling headphones, as we've determined from the klepto episode.
I'm also, Aunt Erica's very proud of me.
And more came home yesterday.
Buddy,
More came home yesterday.
man after my own heart.
Right?
I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not really. But
we took his, I wish I had, I might go grab some really quick. Okay, so I wanted to pause and grab some so I could show y'all. So these are the ones that we sell if you're at in-person events with us, and it usually has like a logo or like a fun little saying on it. But for anybody who doesn't know how noise canceling headphones work, they usually have a padding inside that's 9 times out of 10 going to be removable. So what we do in pool situations and at like water parks is we remove those pads so it doesn't take up. Now it's going to dull out the canceling a little bit for them, but if you do it ahead of time and get them used to it,
they still have some decrease.
It absolutely, and you can put it on your ears, and I've tried it myself. It definitely still dulls out the sound.
Okay.
But these are his water headphones. And so now, before he could like utilize and like starting to verbalize that he wants to go to the pool, he would go grab his green headphones, and that was his way of telling us he wanted to go swimming.
I love
but
that.
you can see there's nothing in there. It's just the plastic.
So they can't get ruined by the water.
And if you're listening and not watching us, it's just your like traditional headphones. They're usually pretty cost efficient online. And if you're in person at one of our vendor events, we'd love to be able to provide you with some of ours. We vetted them out. They're really good.
They're really good. Yeah.
But once you know your kiddo, like he's not switching his from this Amazon brand because it's what he associates with
the pool.
But I'm like, Mama has her own brand, buddy. You can use ours. We walking advertisement. But you what you can do
in other ways.
I know. But yes, birthday went good, and then we had a little birthday get together at my grandparents' house because the way our house is set up, we're in a townhome right now. There's not a yard or anything like that, so we usually either do it at my sister's or my grandparents' house. Mm-hmm. And Mama's house just there's nothing like it. You know, you just always feel like you're right at home, and we loved it. We brought the blow up house and had a few of the neighborhood family friends come over, and
I love that.
It was a lot of fun. We hated y'all couldn't make it, but
I know
life. You know, that's just life.
Life was lifing.
So, but yeah, we've had a great week other than that. Oh, sorry, one more update. We have an update for school if you've been following our school journey.
Yes.
Porter had his second assessment last week, and it did not go as we planned. And I don't want to say plan because I kind of just probably lack of word there. I went into it with no expectation. I had a good conversation with Porter about it, and I told him like, we just want you to do your best, whatever that is. And we don't want you to be pushed into something you don't want to be in. So you, at your own speed, handle this how you feel you want to. And so he went in there. He maybe lasted about 15 minutes into, I think, around like a 45-minute session is what it would have been for the assessment. And I got a call. I took Parker down to a local park. And I got a call, and I was like, crap, that's probably what that means. So, yeah, we got the call, and she just said he's dysregulated, and he's ready to go. And I said, okay. So that to me was God's sign. Like, it's just not his timing this year for that. And I'm okay with that. Dad's okay with that. Porty's okay with that. So we'll just keep on moving forward and try to do some tutoring and see if it's a good fit for him next year.
Yeah.
But thank you all for like praying and thinking of us if you were throughout that process, because we've been able to close the loop. And now my mama heart knows, like, we've got a plan. Now I know what to expect.
Right, which almost sometimes is like that. Like, even when you first get a diagnosis and you get them into therapy, you know, like, yes, it may be a gut punch initially, but then you kind of are like, but we have a plan. Mm-hmm. You know, now we know the plan. And so I agree with you that I feel like this was just not his time. And he very much showed us that, you know, like he showed you that. He showed the school that, you know, maybe next year, because he got to the second time. We got through the first round, but it just wasn't his time yet. And that's okay, because he's making such great progress where he is that maybe he's like, hold on, Mama, let me show you what I can do. Give me one more year.
Yep.
You know,
I think that is.
Yeah.
And I think it's what we like check in with each other pretty often about is like, it's just, they're at their own pace.
Yeah.
And the expectation of what's, you know, traditionally happening is not what happens with them. And so it's like, it's good that we have each other to like reassure, like it's okay that he's not going to start traditionally how we had expected.
Yeah, I see you have two happy, healthy, thriving boys. And that's what I always try to fall back on with my own kids when something doesn't go for either of them. You know, we both have one neurotypical and one, child with autism. And, both of our boys have, serious things that they have to kind of overcome still in different ways. They're very different and very similar. But, I really feel like Luca always has his way of telling me, just like Porter has his way of telling you, hey, it's not time for me. This isn't going to work for me right now. I'm not going to be my happy Porter or my happy Luca if we go down this road. And he just showed that, because I mean, for him to just get dysregulated is his way of being like, this is not the right place for me. Right now, not forever, but just right now. So they just have their own little way of telling us.
I know. So how was your week then?
It was good. So actually this morning I met with Luca's BCBA, which is the lead therapist at ABA Therapy. We love our acronyms. So I'll always try to, and she's amazing. We love her. She is very good at mitigating the problem as soon as she sees it and updating me after, which is what she and I have kind of arranged.
And this is a newer BCBA to him, right?
Newer in like the last...
Didn't he have a switch?
He did have a switch, just his old one, who we also loved, left. This one just has a very different approach. She was a former preschool teacher as well. So she just kind of also, I think, and she's a mom, so a little different, just comes from a different perspective. Whereas like, he's still 4. But also I appreciate she is being very realistic with me on like, we want these goals. But she kind of took him back down a level of ABA. And instead of having him do like motor imitation movements, so basically like they were saying like, Luca, touch your nose. And like his graphs were just, which they data everything in ABA to kind of explain that. But like his graphs were just like one day he would get it 100% and then the next day he would get it 0%. Like, and there was just so much variability. Luca hates to imitate. He hates, and that's what Hannah has seen, who's his BCBA. And she's just like, we're just going to discontinue this and we're going to do the skills that we need to be able to want to imitate. And she kind of broke them down. And so now like he is just like mastering. And she's like, and we're just seeing him climb. And so 2 things that we've seen that are like, just, I never thought I would be so happy to have to wash my child's clothes because he comes home with marker stains on them or dirt on them, like we were saying. So Luca has started to enjoy, with one RBT in particular, to enjoy sitting there holding a marker and coloring.
That's awesome.
Before, just holding something like a utensil or a marker was very aversive to him.
You said that last week with the fork. I just did not realize it transferred to like markers or anything like that.
He didn't want to hold it. Like he just never enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So fine motor things have been very delayed for Luca and not because I don't think dexterity wise he can not do it. It is because he has never wanted to practice. So like even opening doors and things, like I told you, we're just kind of getting to that where he can do not the French door, but like the actual handle.
Yeah.
Like he's figuring out how to unlock things and, all of the things that are very exciting, I'm thrilled about on one hand, and on the other hand, I'm like, oh, that's not knowing, so yeah, it's really great. But, so that was like, he got sent home with 2 pictures that like he did independently. It was just scribbles, but it was different colors, and he was handing the marker back when he was done with that color, picking up another marker and kind of holding it up to his RBT to take off. Well, he's generalized that skill already because I did it with him at home too.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
And then I know, so that was a super proud mama moment. And the other big thing that he's really doing well with, Luca has always been a very gross motor play kid. So gross motor things like climbing, jumping, swinging, jumping on a trampoline, those have been his biggest reinforcers, where we're starting to see a lot of independent toy play, where he is seeking out a new toy and he doesn't have to be shown how to play with it. he's figuring out, you want me to figure out how to manipulate and play with this toy, how it's meant to be played with. And I just am going to go grab different toys. So my playroom, my loft like area playroom upstairs that I have, I never thought again I would be so happy to clean up toys at the end of the night. But like, I mean, I got teary-eyed a couple nights ago doing it because I'm like, this is what a playroom for 2 kids is supposed to look like. You know, Zara's 8, so she's not playing with little toys as much anymore. So, but like my 4-year-old should definitely, like a boy should be having cars and trucks. And like, I'm seeing blocks out now and he's engaging with them. I'm seeing not just like his stereotypy toys anymore.
Yeah.
I am seeing actual functional play with a variety of toys. And it's so awesome. Yeah. So those are 2 really big skills. And that's, I think, because Hannah took his ABA plan back down to a lower level. And that was a gut punch at first. I think I talked about it. It was hard at first to hear, but I very much agreed with her. And now we're seeing the graphs just trend upwards, which is what they're supposed to do. And then kind of stay stagnant even when they do those retention checks, which is before they were just, it was constant. Like he's making progress, he's not. And then he wasn't generalizing all of his skills. And, you know, you just are always unsure, like, is that just my kid? And he's just not, that's just not a skill we're going to get for a while or until he's ready. But now seeing this trend where it's like, we still may not have the end goal skill, we're getting these prereq skills because Luca's not a kid who's going to be able to skip over. He needs to be taught every skill, which is a lot of autistic children.
Yeah, Porter's that way.
Yeah, and it's like, so you have to teach all those prerequisite skills to finally be able to feed yourself with a fork. You know, and like we were just skipping over them and like, let's just hold the fork, buddy. And he was like, no, teach me why I should. You know.
Yeah. I think there's probably a
Bosnian in him too. Probably.
Yeah, right. there's so much of that, I'm sure. I'm sure other parents can relate to that too, with as far as like being an ABA family, because we've gone through that same thing with Porter. I told you, like, we've had to, you know, take a step back and rebuild the skills and get up there. And I can tell you, I really think that has helped with his imitation skills because they did the same thing. They backed down, implemented like a lower level program, built him up, and he started to mimic things and watch our mouth, and that's where the vocalization started.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the same, you know, trajectory for Luca. And if it's a little different, that's how Luca sees fit, you know, is he's gonna get it in his own way though.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, just to like really sit down with her today and have that, you know, it was so encouraging to see the graphs this time, you know, which it has been over the last few times, but really today, because it was more of the annual review plan today. So it was a longer meeting, but it was definitely like to see all of his graphs and from the beginning where we were just 2 years ago is very encouraging to me.
And see, I think there's probably various different parent types that are in the ABA groups, because you very much are like, I want to see the graphs. I want to see the data. And I think that's like the scientist in you being a provider. And then I'm like, tell me how it's going, you know?
You want the theory behind it.
Right, exactly. I don't necessarily need the graphs. Now, Michael loves the graphs. He analyzes data all day in his job. So that's what speaks to him. And that's what motivates him as a parent to then implement it at home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to know how did you get there? What did you do? Like all of those details, and not necessarily see the graph. It's encouraging. I do like it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily get the motivation like to continue what they're doing through that. So I'm curious, like, if you are listening, what kind of parent are you? Let us know. Like, do you like the graphs, or do you like the more conversation, the theory? That's what you called it?
Yeah,
the theory
behind it. Yeah.
Let us know. Sound off in our comments.
Yeah.
I want to see what kind of.
I know. And like, what was one thing I would want to know this too? Because, you know, there are times throughout the meeting where it's like, you know, like for today, example is like school readiness, you know, because he is 4 and going to kindergarten next year, which we're doing a very different plan, which we'll talk about on another episode. But, you know, that school readiness, he's not even close. You know, I mean, none of his areas were even close to being able to really sustain in a school setting.
Yeah.
And so that there's always like those little like tugs at your heart, like, okay, you have to remember this isn't going to look the same. But I feel like Hannah delivers it always in like that positive sandwich where she's like, he's doing really well. Okay, here's the gut punch. And then like, but look how great he's doing.
Yeah.
And
That's the teacher in her.
it's the teacher in her for sure.
And the mom, probably.
Yes. But also, like, I feel like each time I walk out of there now, I feel less of the gut punch and I feel more encouraged.
Mhm.
And again, not every day. I'm sure it's not every day, but I feel more accepting of just like this is our life. This is Luca, and I'm really proud of every little thing that he does, and it gives me pure joy to be able to celebrate the small wins. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I was just saying, like, they were like, how do you cope with this? You know, they didn't really couldn't grasp how to cope with a child who has some things. And so it was super.
We don't know her.
Yeah, who's that? Like, we just
Survive.
carry our head down and like, yeah. But I was like, you know, I think I'm really starting to find the true joy and the true peace that comes with, like, I can't control everything. I'm accepting the small wins, and the small wins to me bring me such joy that it's like, and you get a small win every day with your kids. And so having those small wins, and when you celebrate that, you can't be in a negative mood.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
It changes your mindset. Yeah. I agree, Porter.
He agrees too. No, I agree with you. And I'm curious if you think that it kind of, does it help that we've both thrown ourselves into this local autism community.
Mhm.
So I think like seeing Gigi's Playhouse and seeing the other kiddos, and it's like there are other kids and other families. Being at the Connect Strong, seeing all the families there, it's like there are other people that walk that same steps that we do every day. Maybe a little different, but for the most part, they understand it. I think that's what's helped me find the joy in it,
Yeah.
and the peace. Like you're saying, you're coming at the acceptance part of the
continuum of grief.
yeah. And do you think that helps too? Like you?
Oh my
see
gosh,
it?
I have said it so many times that I think diving into this podcast and getting to know you really well, and you know, being able to walk this journey with somebody who I truly call one of my best friends, and you know, but also like giving back a little bit, like through the podcast, I hope that we help even just one family. You know, if sharing our stories helps one family, like Luca and Porter. Gosh, I'm gonna cry again. I don't know what's wrong with me today because I'm not the crier, but like I'm gonna cry. But like I feel like their little lives have given back so much to the community and hopefully to the world one day. Like if we continue to grow this because of them, you know. And then like in doing my developmental program, yes, that's been very therapeutic for me and helped me find that. But I think just like really stepping back in that day to day, because day to day I'm not out helping others. I'm with my kid. But I think just finding those small joys has been it's changed like your whole perspective on life.
Yeah.
Where it's like, are you going to get mad at somebody because, you know, get road rage out there? It's like, why? I can.
My kid used a marker today.
My
You're not gonna steal my joy today,
Right.
car driver.
My kid has a huge blue streak down his white shirt on a marker.
Yeah,
I am so thrilled that I get to go home and wash that out.
exactly.
You know, like there's nothing that anybody could do to take that joy away. And it's like, that makes you happy? Like to somebody who doesn't understand, and it's like, may seem like the smallest thing to you, but like, it's the biggest thing to somebody like who goes through our journey.
I can visibly see it in you just in our year and a half of like becoming best friends and doing this together. I've seen the acceptance come through.
Yeah.
And you are like a year and a half behind us in the journey with Porter. But it's cool to see like you come into it and like get plugged in with more things. And I may have to like sign you up myself for it. And I'm like, I signed you up
Like tomorrow, you're like volunteering me, but like I like it.
Yeah.
I like to be told what to do.
Get you out of the house.
I know. I need it. I love it.
So it's been cool to like have a buddy to do that with too.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads us into our ought to know section. We're going to skip the whine about it. I think I whined enough about Tefra last week, so we'll skip it this week. But our ought to know section, I think that is very pertinent for people to know. Like we are living examples of putting yourself out there, getting plugged in with your local community. And I challenge y'all this weekend, if this is coming out a little later, then do something not Easter weekend, do it next weekend. But here's here's your Kelby and Erica challenge. Find something in your local community, a free sensory friendly, museums, libraries. Get plugged in with some of those things. If you have a local autism foundation, like we do here locally, there's several, but specifically Autism Strong Foundation, they share a lot of local events going on. Get plugged in. Do something. That's your challenge. You're being told you have to accept the challenge.
And when Kelby volunteers, you do.
You do.
I'm just telling you.
I do think it's going to be chaotic, y'all. It's going to be, but don't put an expectation on it. Don't put an expectation on your child. The only expectation is for you to just go and try it.
And if you leave 20 minutes in, you got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 20 minutes of a new experience for your child and your family. And next time, guess what? You may stay for 30. And like that, but you have to try.
And the coolest thing is you're going to be around people who just get it. So when you have to leave, they're not even going to question you at all. They're probably going to help you put your kids in the car. Like, what
they're going to be like, what do
us?
you need? How can we help you load up?
Yeah. It's
a community like no other.
It is. And if you have your social anxieties, and if you have any of that, like, just try to push past that a little bit this weekend and get yourself plugged into something. Go do a Easter egg hunt somewhere. A sensory friendly event somewhere. That's your ought to know. You ought to get out.
For sure. Get out. And we have on May 17th from 4 to 5:30 our first Awesome Moms Club that we are co-hosting with Cindy Veal from Bloom Early Intervention. And so it's going to be at Paul Davis Restoration. And we hope that we get to see you out there. So we'll have more information on how to sign up for that. It's coming soon. So we hope that we get to see you guys there, but that's just another event where you can plug yourself in and get to know other moms going through a similar journey.
All right, y'all. Well, I got to get off and get these kids to the zoo. And I've got
to just go deal with the zoo.
There you go.
All right, guys, we look forward to talking to you next week.
Bye.